Welcome, everybody. Today we have a very special guest. I've never had a guest on this channel before, so this is really exciting. This is my good friend now for, I think, over a year or almost a year, Collin Bowles of God. Collin, my man. LUGAL, that's right. His channel now is LUGAL, which, of course, is the king, means king in the old Babylonian language. And that is also the name of the star Regulus, which a lot of my followers have actually found me researching. So, cha-ching. So I also did an interview with Collin on his channel. So if you'd like to check that out, go and check out his page. It'll be linked in the description. And we can just dive right in, my friend. I'm happy to have you. We had a good little banter before diving into this. Actually, before I even asked you any questions, how do you feel about being on this channel with me?
I feel so privileged, so blessed. The light of the divine, the angels are everywhere. They're everywhere, Julian. I feel I'm in the highest point of the light. It's piercing through my soul.
Welcome to
the surrounded by a great host, beyond measure, exceedingly beyond anything you can even imagine.
I love it. Coming straight out of the gates with the crazy. It's awesome. This is what you can expect. Yeah, beautiful. I'm glad you feel that way. Welcome to the summit. I wish this was the summit, but we're on the way. We're on the way there.
Declare it, and it is so, Julian.
Yes. So for all of you who may not know, of course, Collin is a tarot reader. I really like your take on the tarot. You have in his chart, he has the moon in the third house, which is extremely harmonious in ancient astrology. These are people with very deep receptivity and just a lot of psychic abilities, prophetic dreams, that whole spiel. So, and I really like his take on the tarot. I am not really a huge tarot guy, but I have to say that Collin really piques my interest with it, which is rare. So I think, I can vouch for him. And that's part of what I'm going to be asking today. But before I dive into anything deep and meaningful, I want to ask you, Collin, what do you think we're all doing here, just in this universe?
I think basically this is God's mental hospital. This is God's treatment. Everyone watching, you're in this hospital for a reason. So you need to go through your treatment. Okay, God, you need to go through your treatment. And that's why you're here. And so, yeah.
True, actually. I agree, actually. I think you're right. Absolutely. The whole universe is just there.
Everyone comment right now. Comment. This is a great hospital. I'm suing it. That's what my anima told me when I went to the underworld.
I'm suing it.
Put it in the comments. He said, this is a great hospital. I'm suing it. We're suing it by bringing the new earth here, by bringing heaven inside of ourselves and transforming everything. So that's how we're suing this great hospital.
So. I love that. I love that. Beautiful. That's perfect. We are. That's exactly what we're doing. A new earth, a second birth, and a new earth. Well, I thought we would be here for 10 minutes answering that question, but I think you did it pretty damn well. So, I do have to sneeze, and neither of us knows how to edit, so that's going to stay in this video.
Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend. So,
everyone comment sneeze.
Just there's gonna be thousands of comments from one person. They're just like, sneeze, I'm in a mental hospital. LUGAL.
Exactly.
Collin Bowles. Just the same person thousands of times. So, but look, and this is a question actually just from me to you personally. Like, tell me a bit about your spiritual journey and how you started to wake up, how you got on this path. And you could even lead up to how you found Olympus Astrology, how you found me. I'd be curious to hear that.
So my spiritual journey started when I was in middle school. It was a very difficult period being an intuitive. As some people know, I'm an ENFP and MBTI, so an intuitive dominant. This world is kind of difficult for intuitives, and I know a lot of people watching are intuitives. And I found a lot of loneliness. A lot of people are into things that I found to be meaningless and mundane, and I was interested in more eclectic, more interesting, more unique things as an Enneagram 4. So I, through that sadness, kind of transmuted it towards religion and prayer and all of these things. And it started as a small ember inside of me. I went to church, I did these things, and then I asked for a passion in my heart for the day this to increase. And then it slowly burned into this all-consuming flame. I started miracles, which I channel in my past. You can actually see about 200 miracles that I have on video that you can find that were an overflow out of my relationship with the divine. So it started in the secret inside of my heart, and then it developed, spread outwards towards other people. From there, it transitioned. It took a transition in like my 20s from just Christianity to the whole view, more into the occult, more into the full spectrum of what I think God is, because I think God is beyond what we think. What we think he and she is, what we think so beyond, as Ram Dass says, God is. There's, I really think that putting too many boxes on what we think God is, they're going to be shattered with the limitless and endless. We're only putting boxes, more complex boxes on Him with the occult until we get to the point where God rips all of them, and we're fully immersed in that oneness again. So my spiritual journey is also due to a tremendous amount of pain, a tremendous amount of darkness, and from this pain birthed inside of me need for the light, the need for the opposite. I think having early trauma like I did with my mother's death really made me a good candidate for dealing with the house of the ether, or the interactions with the other world, and made me a great candidate for that. I also think having in the Enneagram, it's called the sexual instinctual variant. Having that more intense side of myself brings more of that intensity towards the supernatural and towards the other realm. Uh, there. So my spiritual journey is a ever evolving place, which I eventually, like I've said before, I saw the spider when I was in this silent retreat. I was in the teepee and I was praying, and I saw the spider about this big go from the top of the teepee, drop, and slowly and willingly go into the fire. So I hope one day, and I fan the flame until I'm completely consumed. Mortality is consumed, as Julian has told me in my reading. I was so impressed by what he said. He said that my ascendant is Pollux and Castor, and they are the wrestling, the human and the divine mind. But in the end, he thinks the divine mind will rule out. So my mortality will be burned up, and what will be left is the divinity and the spirit. So I hope to fan this flame until I am just the divine fire, screaming and waving my hand, and to put off my mortality. And and it's like I used to think that the Christian idea of worshiping eternally was such a boring thing, but now the more I go into it, it would be my greatest honor to sit and watch the divine flame for eternity and bask in that glory. And my spiritual journey has also evolved from thinking God was separate, thinking God was very far away, to now that I'm shifting and removing parts of myself that really I am limitless, eternal bliss, love, and consciousness, but I'm burning away all the things that are the extra stuff. And that's the fire that's coming in. So I already am it, but there's all this other jargon. There's this whole maze. That's the ego, the personality, all these things that we're all sorting through. So me stripping back and removing and purifying to both rid myself of unnecessary complications in the material, and put all of my build up a giant network and experience and all of that inside it the depths of into my everyday waking life and cultivation of compassion and all of these aspects. So that's a little synopsis of my my spiritual journey from fundamentalism into a multifaceted, complex, nuanced, and ever increasing journey of discovery and devotion and fire. So
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it's a big step to make, you know, that Christian dragon is not easily conquered.
for the fundamentalist part of it, and everyone can see
Hmm.
my past with it. There was so much, and I'm not dogging it. It is a part of God. The fundamentalism, the harmonic influence to diffuse and profane the mysteries into like all of the literalization and all of these things is
Mm.
aspect of the divine,
Yep.
albeit the harmonic or more satanic influence.
Yeah.
But and it taught me the light. It taught me the
Mm.
darkness teaches you the light, and the oversimplification can teach you the beauty of the complex and the subtle joys and the more nuanced joys existence. So I'm very grateful for my past of fundamentalism as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's funny as you're talking about being an Enneagram type 4. For people who don't know, the Enneagram is a system of 9 personality types. And Colin and I are both type 4s. And I think anybody who knows the Enneagram would have already picked that up probably 2 minutes into this
And four
video.
threes, right?
Yeah, 4 3s, that's right. With a 3 wing, which is 3 is the climber, the marketer, and the let's succeed. It's that sort of energy, you know. And the 4 is, I mean, it's funny, you know, hearing you describe your experience in school and stuff being young. I mean, I felt exactly the same way. That's how 4s always feel. 4s always feel like they're outside the group and they don't fit in. And I'm so deep and meaningful, and everybody's such a shallow loser. That was my story, you know, growing up. And to be honest, it was kind of true. But I would say that being a 4. But at the same time, you know, if you have a sexual instinctive type, you're a very mellow sexual for sexual. The sexual type is it's like the most intense and raw of the version of that type, right? That's my understanding of it anyway. I don't know it that well, but so Colin's not too over the top, because when a 4 gets over the top, it can be a bit drama. But Colin's nowhere near that bad. So
Also,
do you?
the pain that I experienced, this is so four of me to do this, but
Mm,
the pain that I had in high school was like this, where my solar plexus is. I felt like a literal, like the void there,
yeah.
just complete emptiness, like I'm being swallowed up by complete chaos. There's and all of
Mm,
that, and to me, that's a when you consciously feel that and see that where everyone pushes it away, it is a direct, if you don't die from it or off yourself or whatever from it, it's a
yeah.
direct springboard that takes you into the beauty and cultivation of the divine, because the divine is in
Yeah.
one sense beauty, and the
Yes.
Enneagram 4 seeks to reflect from that void and from that emptiness to milk that void into beauty and cultivation of a more, yeah, subtle and beautiful, taking the void and making it a garden.
Yep.
Way.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And like they say that the classic thing with the 4 is they dress in a very moody, expressive way. Either it's very dark or very bright. And I mean, look at what we're wearing. I mean, we're so dressed like 4s. It's kind of ridiculous. And even when I told Colin Yama 4 as well, and he goes, "Oh, where's your mauve scarf?" And I go, "It's right here."
And it's velvet.
And it's velvet.
Love
That's
it.
right.
By the way, everyone watch the movie Nicolas Cage Pig. It is like the most four movie ever. And he has a scene there which I absolutely love. And in the scene, he's talking to this guy that he knew when he was younger, when he was a chef. and when he was like a full-time chef, and what he said is that you wanted to do pub food. You didn't want this like super snooty food. The
Mm,
customers aren't real. This restaurant isn't real. Everything you're doing is not real because you haven't shown them. Life only gives you a few things to really care about.
mm, beautiful. Yeah, that's a very classic four statement. It's all fake. None of it's real. Okay, so following on from that, I so we talked about like the spiritual journey and stuff, and obviously you were in the fundamentalist area, which was interesting. And now, obviously, that's expanded a lot. And I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the Cabbala in general. And I mean, what's your link with it? Like, what do you know about it? How do you use it? How much have you used it, or anything? What are your thoughts?
Beautiful thing is, I think you are the one who kind of got it into me. You sparked my interest because I'm like, Julian's a good guy. Like this can't be because I was taught that it like all the occult stuff, all of this is all evil and everything. But Julian really had me. I got curious about it from there, and I was like, hey, this is a map of God.
Mm,
This is like we don't have to just do like we don't have to be blind. We don't have to be
mm,
sitting ducks. We can actually understand God. So
yeah.
that really piqued my interest.
Well,
Omraam, it was in Omraam's book, and I'm like, the more my interest peaked, the more I was interested, and then I found out it correlates with Cabbala, it correlates with a lot of other things, and actually integrate Cabbala into my readings and correlate it with the cards and everything. And so I find Cabbala to be ever expanding, a way to categorize and uh, overlay a structure for you to really do a lot of mental and things inside of yourself. But then eventually, when you get to the highest point, God will demolish it, and you'll see with your own eye.
mhm.
It's a good scaffolding to build
Yes.
up to train you, to train your mind, to train your imagination. You can use it through meditation. You can meditate on the different spheres. It's a good way of processing where you are in the spirit, the discerning of spirits, where someone is at, what is their, where do they place on the tree of life, where is the arena to the world. It's a language that has 33 names for blue. You're not like Americans or whoever is not able to see those colors except the language. So the is, in a sense, like Monsters Inc. doors, where you enter into these whole little pocket universes, and you're able to expand the internal universe inside of you and interact more with more wisdom outside of you. So it's a really deep path that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years that will
Mm,
bring a lot of depth to anyone who's interested in that.
beautiful. Right. That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember we were chatting a little while back, and you were asking me some questions, and I said, "Well, look, the answer's here in your own tradition," because Colin has some Jewish background, and I was holding my phone, and I just changed the camera, and I've got this had this at the time had this Tree of Life poster behind my computer, and I just said, "It's here," and I started, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that was what sparked your interest. I like that. That's beautiful. Speaking of, there is a beautiful book. I don't know if I've got it next to me, but it's called The Fruits of the Tree of Life. It looks very similar to this one. And it is by the master, Omraam Mikhael Aivanhov. That is the book that I use to look at the Tree of Life. There's a lot of weird stuff out there, so you've got to be a bit careful. But with the master, you're always safe. So if you do want to investigate the Tree of Life, that is a very good option. There's also this one here called Angels and Other Mysteries of the Tree of Life. Omraam Mikhael Aivanhov. I'll put some of these titles in the description, and you can find them at prosveta-usa.com. I'll link all that down below. Cool. And now we can obviously, linking on from the Cabbala, right? This is all interwoven. what's your take on the tarot? And can you show me some of your cards? We got a little glimpse of one there before. So if it's a
So I think, yeah, so I think that the tarot is a whole network. It's like a whole tree. Any of these has so many different layers. It really grows to help you communicate with God. When I was in fundamentalism, very rarely could anyone hear from God. Very rarely anyone could hear accurately. They're often hearing from spirits that weren't God, spirits that were off kilter. How can you know if you don't have information reduction or some way to categorize what you're experiencing in the spirit world? Is you're really going to have a difficult time and not be able to have the language to actually sort through and gain wisdom on what's happening. You'll just be a sitting duck, or you'll need some other spirit to hold your hand. I advocate for wisdom and understanding. Tarot is a great way to guys look at archetype, Capricorn, Queen of Pentacles. I'll look at the numerology. I'll look at the planets. I'll look at the gods and goddesses that accompany this card. I'll look at, there's so many different layers. The element. I'll look at the negative side, the shadow, what it represents. You look at the picture, you look at the way it's facing. There's a whole world that opens up from it. And for a lot of people that want a faster way to hearing from spirit, the cards simplify it. I mean, you literally have a physical thing in your hand that you're like, God, let me tell you, or the universe, speak to me about this thing, and then it just, bam, here it is. And where it's a little bit more tricky hearing internally. So I think it's a good aid to help with that on your journey of building a scaffolding of understanding and wisdom and information reduction, to which when you eventually you will not need any of it. You'll be able to know a place to start out with and get, and also as a enlightenment.
It's a bit laggy.
The cards also link to the Hebrew. You can take a lot of great intense depth. And for anyone interested in tarot, I recommend like looking at, specifically type in on Google Thoth Tarot, and any of those things will give you a lot more deep into the knowledge of it. Not just, I really recommend that people wouldn't just read whatever pops up on the internet, because it's only going to be the most mundane, physicalized, Newtonian version of like this thing interacts with this, and it won't take you into the higher aspects. Because I really do believe each one of us is kind of like a Russian doll. We have our higher self and the one over that and the one over that, all the way up to the CEO at the top of the food chain, the highest oneness, and really being able to understand those higher dimensions, those higher aspects of who we are and what we're looking at, is going to be pivotal in anyone's spiritual success. So that's what I work with my clients, is helping them find, what are you doing here in this incarnation? What's happening? What is your higher self? What kind of creature will you become? I believe each one of us are a different kind of tree, and that seed is the human, and that seed bursts into something that more than we can ask, think, or imagine, a higher dimensional being, way beyond just the human experience. Each one of us are have the potential to become the tree of life, in the sense that I see the tree of life as a as a kind of extra dimensional tree that spans its leaves and branches, fractals itself throughout all the universes and parallel universes, and sees all and experiences all and knows all. This is in essence what each one of us can become and flourish into. Humans are that seed of that eventual divine dragon that will fully come to manifest. So that's why I'm doing tarot, is to help unlock this the fullest potential in the person, and set a fire. Because just looking at the archetypes, just handling the cards, just interacting on a small level, it's doing occult things, it's doing inward things that are beyond what we know, especially when we're praying and we're giving it up to the benevolence of God. We're giving it up and to the wisdom of God. We're going to reap a harvest when we do it with that kind of sacred, and we do it with that reverence for truth and making ourselves into an instrument of truth. So there.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that take on it. Yeah, it's so fascinating. Wow.
And I did want to say this: when I was younger, I felt so much confusion. I'd ask people about
Hmm.
God, and they had very shallow answers. They had
Yep.
very just, they just wanted you to shut up. I asked questions, and I felt very lost and confused. And I was a very gullible child. I just believed what someone said, and then I would constantly be just very, very ashamed for that. Very ashamed for, oh, but I took their opinion as my own, and just kind of swimming on the sea of like fear, like, oh, don't look here, don't look there, but this, you just have to accept what I'm saying. And
Mm.
this learning about astrology, learning about tarot, learning about these things gives you the freedom to not just know God by faith, but know God by knowledge. And it will
Mm.
require faith. It will require a level that you don't know and go beyond it. And just knowledge without without developing the heart, without developing the body or the soul or the emotional things, will end in suffering. But if you
Yep.
accompany it with other holistic practices, knowledge is a good supplement, and
Yep.
knowledge is a good scaffolding of where you can go, and also to protect you from a lot of the BS out there. A lot of the people just looking for money, a lot of the people that are trying to deceive you. When you're actually able to properly categorize the archetypes or the spirits or what's happening here, you then can be a
Mm.
lot more wise in regard to what you're encountering, both on the human and the mundane level, all the way to when you're literally seeing into the spirit realm, as I
Yep.
was. When I went into the realm of the gods or my Kundalini awakening, I didn't know what was going on because I was seeing the true form of everyone. I didn't know. I kind of demonized everything at first. I was because
Yeah.
I didn't have a place to put it. And I didn't have the structure, and so that's why I really advise you to book a session with us. Or if you don't have money, study on your own. Focus on your own development with understanding these things, because it will aid you when you get to those higher levels of spirit through meditation or whatever practice you do. It will aid you in being able to do something with your abilities, with your essence, with your soul. Because awakening is one thing, but what do you do with it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. Yeah. And like it's the master said that every person is a bent triangle. Everybody is a sort of slanted triangle in one direction. Some people have a very developed will. They're very energetic and very strong, but they don't have a very developed mind, and their heart is kind of in the middle. And some people have a very developed heart, but a not very developed mind, and their body is sort of in the middle, and so they're very loving. But these people can be taken advantage of. The other kinds of people, they don't know a lot of things, and then some people who are very intelligent, but their will is not very strong. These people become prideful and arrogant. And he said that every person is born like this. No, but there's no exceptions. Every person, every great master, every single person is born as a slanted triangle with one quality more developed than the others. And it's the goal of all initiation for us to become a perfect triangle, for the will, the heart, and the mind to all be in unison. So we have to develop all three faculties. And this is through this kind of study, you're developing the mind and the will, actually, because you have to have the will to put the time behind to do the work. Yeah.
And part of the work is hearing what you don't want to hear. Both with astrology and tarot,
Mm.
there's a lot of, God will be stern with you. The divine
Yeah.
will is not trying to be nice to you. It tells you, tarot is going to tell you what you
Yeah.
need to hear, no matter how much you want your weird boyfriend, girlfriend that's like not good for you in your life, or however you want your ex back. The tarot is not
Hmm.
going to lie to you.
Yeah.
And so that's the my greatest joy, and one of my greatest joys in doing sessions with people is that scorpion, showing them the truth and letting the cards come out in a gracious and encouraging way, always redemptive, but they're
Mm.
not going to lie. And so if you lack the spiritual development, or if you don't put in the time neither one of us are going to just make you feel better for no reason. We're going to
Yeah.
make you feel better and give you what you need to hear, not what you just wish to. And any good tarot or astrologer should be doing that, should be telling you hard truths and things that you need to work on. So that's another key to look out for fakes and frauds. That people are like, oh, it will go well. Oh, you'll have, oh, everything will be well. Someone who says that,
Yeah. Oh
run
my God.
100% in in the other direction. So.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So, taking a little break from our esoteric trajectory, I wanted to ask you, Collin, what flavor cupcake are you?
I would say I'm like interdimensional strawberry shortcake with like I would say sprinkles from the air of the planet Venus.
Okay.
With inside of it, it is filled with a nice 24 karat gold filling
Nice.
and
Edible.
sugar coated and filled with a baked Alaska core. And the entire state of New Jersey is the wrapper that is in. So
The entire state of New Jersey. That's
and it is
hilarious.
sitting on top of Jupiter.
And it's sitting on top of
Jupiter.
I was not expecting that answer.
Avant-garde food.
Yes,
Avant-garde.
I think that goes beyond avant-garde. That becomes cosmic food.
And then it's
Cosmic.
deconstructed, of course, because anything pretentious
And then it's just,
has
it's
to
not
be
there at all. It's not real. And then you realize that that was just one of the shells of your Russian doll, and you take it off, and there's another cupcake on the outside of that.
Yeah, everyone comment this video is not real.
This video is a cupcake.
The world's a psyop.
A Russian cupcake. A Russian style cupcake.
Oh my. I love all the Eastern philosophy. It's like everything's a psyop. It's the best.
Yep, pretty much. The obstacle is the way, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. Well, that was good. And I was wondering if you have any advice for my viewers who have gotten this far. We're pretty much at 3333 in this recording. So hit my friends with some advice.
Well, first of all, 333, there's a scripture in Jeremiah 33:3. Ask of me and call upon me, and I'll show you great and mighty things which you do not know. It's a biblical scripture. So I would say that in your heart, pray to the divine or your higher self, and you ask, let this fire multiply today. Let my fire for the eternal and the light increase. Let my heart yearn for it. Pray that every single day, sincerely, and it will multiply and grow.
Amen.
And you will become a holy flame. Number 2, you need to give thanks for all of your struggles, all of your difficulties, every difficult person you meet, knowing this is yourself, knowing this is something that is a great blessing to propel you into the light, to propel you into goodness, to propel you into truth. So give thanks for all of your trials. And then number 3, you need to work on your body, protect the temple, because if you don't, a lot of spiritual people neglect their physical. If you do this, you are kind of damning yourself in one aspect, because you absolutely need to become an instrument of truth, body, soul, and spirit, or at least make progress, burn through some of that negative karma regarding your physical form, and really pray. Look up YouTube mantras on the physical healing, like the Medicine Buddha, and pray that, or whatever you want, and know that your healing karma will burn away as you work on it, as you apply faith, as you go to a like maybe physical therapist, whatever is inspired on the inside of you. Treat your body. It is the temple of God. It is everything. It is a whole universe unto itself. These cells, it's like, think of it as entire civilizations living inside of you. These cells, you are their only hope. You are God to them. So you need to really cultivate a sacredness towards your body and treat it as the temple. Stay away from processed foods. Eat wholesome. Grow your foods if you can, or find a farm. Nourish your body. Let your body become as healthy as possible because you will feel the best. You'll have
Mm,
more access to the light. You'll have more access to be truth and exercise. Will remove the fog, the depression, all of these things. Don't just study, don't just pray. Take care of yourself. Those are my advice.
beautiful. I love that. Yeah, I love that. That's very practical. Very, very nice. Yeah. Great. Great. Cool. And another sort of open-ended piece. What is your, and this is actually, I'm very curious. I kind of am getting more of a feel for it now, actually, talking to you in this interview. But what's your general philosophy on life? The deep one, so definitely take your time. And no, everybody, this will not be edited out.
And philosophy in life is to, my philosophy in life, do you mean to ask what is my specific way going about it, or
Yep.
what do I think everyone should go about it? My specific way?
Your specific way, yeah.
Mm. My specific way is I find the burning in my heart. I find what animates me, the
Mm,
libido energy, and it's not necessarily sexual, but it's the sexual energy, whatever brings me that spark and is a good bridge between chaos and order. And whatever does that, I pay attention to and I try to fan it. I try to situate all of my life around my values, around my passions, and kill every bird with that stone. That I know that when I'm full of that divine sexual energy and passion, when I am fully alive, that I have sought first the kingdom of heaven, and everything will come to me. Everything will
mm,
be provided. Everything will work out as long as I am properly a machine and a machine of life, an instrument of life. When I am burning with that life and passion and zest, then everything will be brought to me. And even if it is not, the satisfaction I will have on the inside is more than compensate for any difficulty. So that
mm,
is the approach that I take in life more than
mm.
anything. And so for me, that specifically looks like my Almutin, which is Mercury in
Yeah.
Scorpio in the sixth house. So that going into that deep knowledge, like the tarot and all of these things, finding out mysteries. And sixth house, serving people. So my actual purpose in life correlates with what I'm doing for my business, LUGAL Tarot. By the way, follow me on
Mm.
Instagram. And
Yes.
this is the yeah this is the life philosophy that I
Beautiful.
adhere to.
You so do. Yeah, that actually explains a lot because it's not, I notice like for me, I'm very I'm quite critical and on the light side I'm very discerning, but on the dark side I'm very critical. So for me it's always about, is it light or dark? And if it's dark, I'm just like, I'm not having anything to do with that. But actually it's really, it's nice, it's refreshing to hear your take on it actually, which is just, is it alive? Does it have an energy? Does it have a does it give off an emanation from which I can learn, from which I can develop and grow, basically, whatever that may be, even if it's not the greatest source, the most light thing, but it's something that's teaching me something, even, yeah, whatever that teaching may be. I think that's really beautiful. And we talked about this beforehand, but I can't wait to ask it. If you were a fictional character, which one would you be?
I would be Dora the Explorer. So I would go around and I'd be like, "Hi, let me look at your let me look at your tarot chart. Wow, your tarot cards. Wow, this is crazy. Wow. We need to address your childhood trauma now. That's what I would be like. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're
I'd be like Virgil from Dante's Inferno, but like Dora the Explorer instead. Anime pixie dream girl, Dora, guiding you through the underworld.
I love it.
Wow, wow,
The souls
Sarah,
of the damned.
this is where they get tortured for eternity. Wow.
Can you spot the damned souls? Where are they?
Oh,
Oh
oh
god,
my.
that's too
Everyone,
funny.
yeah, comment damn souls. We're praying for everyone. We're praying for the dead here. So
I'm a Dora
yeah,
the Underworld Explorer.
I believe that. What's really happening.
Yep. Yep. And for our final question, where do you, my friend, where do you feel the most connected to the light? Or when? Where and when do you feel the most connected to the light?
When I have the most fear,
The most fear, was it?
I feel the most connected to the light when I have the most fear,
Mm.
the most intensely. When during my
Yep.
awakening, when I was
Yep.
in the world of chaos, I did this mantra, Divine Father, Divine Mother, and Christ, and I did this continually, and I did prayers without stopping. Like this was my sole thing. And it's that fear and the negative aspects that propel me into the higher versions of light. And some of the most people of light in my life have had the most horrific things happen to them. And it actually,
Mm.
it makes you into an angel, but with the
Yep.
worst circumstances.
Very true. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Were you going to look at
Yeah.
my chart a bit?
Very true. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. I should have started out with
I'm
that,
glad I
actually.
remembered.
Yeah, well, because I mentioned that last week and completely forgot. So let's see. Collin, man, the myth, the legend. So I'll share my
The
screen in a
creature.
second. So
The
Colin's got a
creature.
real intense, very, very intense chart for everybody watching. As far as ancient astrology goes, this is really quite hectic.
And what god or goddess would you pin me as the most out of every archetype in my chart? What kind of energy would you
Hermes,
label me as?
definitely
Hermes?
Hermes. Yep.
Wow, love it.
Yes. Yeah. And I just realized I think I might have told you this in our first session that we have the same phase of our Mercury, which
Oh,
is this his changing phase. He's going from, on one hand, he's the guide of lost souls, and
whoa.
on the other hand, he's changing into the little baby Hermes, he's building a little musical instrument and singing the praise of the gods and the praise of
Wow.
heaven. Yep,
Oh my. Oh,
yep,
that's so good.
yep, yep.
Going from like the intelligence to the innocence.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yep, yep, exactly right. And you can see the moon down here
Everyone
in the
comment
third house.
hallelujah. Wow.
I love it. I love it. So you can see the moon down here in the third house, everybody, with regulars. So this is another sacred zone. The sun is in the crown of Scorpio, which is about meditation. Regulus and Hydra here, this is all astrology. That's why he's into the esoteric stuff. And this Mercury is obviously somebody with an extremely active mind. The Mercury appearing very intelligent, very active mind. And yeah, I mean, I could keep going. I mean, it's trined up with Saturn here on the MC. So Saturn, Mercury in a trine is a very, very intense, very extreme focus, very clear focus, very intelligent, very deep thinking, with able to go very, very follow a thought for a very long time. Saturn is this stability. Mercury is the mind. And this is also indicating some career to do with this Mercury, you know. The fame, the reputation is linked with his intelligence. And then the nighttime, so he's got this nighttime Saturn up here, though, square with Mars and Venus. Venus throwing the square, though, so it's not too bad, but Mars, yeah. This is what gives the really, even just a night Saturn up there, that's the loss and the grief early in life. That was, you know, the deaths that you mentioned very early on. Mars Saturn trine can be very personal. I don't want to go too deep in, square, very personal, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but it's one of the more difficult aspects in astrology.
Why did I have a really good, or why do I have a really good, like father and stepmother? I'm curious. I have like the most amazing ones, I feel like, possible.
Yeah, that is really
I've just been shocked by everyone else's parents. I'm like,
yeah.
And I feel like mine, I'm like, yeah.
100%. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that is very interesting. I mean, just off the bat, it would be this trine of the sun with Saturn up there, which will make the father sort of well placed. But it's kind of complicated. We'll have to talk about this a little bit and figure out exactly what's going on here, because this is a very extreme chart. There's lots of stuff in the angles. Mars and Saturn are very powerful, so it can be quite difficult. Yeah, we need to.
I literally can't have fun. Like I try to have fun and it's just not fun. I'm the best when I just continue my practice, my work. That's like my rest day is like meditating the whole day.
Yeah.
To do that, I feel bad. Like it's like, yeah, Saturn.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, actually that's true with this sacred zone down here of meditation. Yeah, and then the Mars and Venus. I mean, like we have talked about this before, but and there you can see everybody here on the ascendant, Castor and Pollux, like we mentioned before. And they do say in ancient times, if there's really bad aspects in these ropes of Pisces here, which you do have, then the person will be imprisoned. And that is not entirely true yet, although actually, well, that's interesting. We'll have to talk about it a bit more because I haven't thought about your chart a lot.
Does it say when? Does it say when, or is it?
You could find out when, yeah. Yeah, you could find out when. Yeah. It'd just take a few more. It'd take a bit of looking, you know. But yeah, it's a very dramatic chart. It's kind of a mixture between like a it's like a mixture between maybe tragedy and it's very mixed actually. It's got a lot of, but it's like tragedy, comedy, heroic. There's a lot of elements all mashed in together. It's quite amazing, but it's dramatic. Events are big and dramatic, and that is certainly your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, not always easy. Not always easy events. But you know, anyway, we can talk more about that.
Most healing medicine comes from the harshest deserts, right? So.
Absolutely right. Yeah, it's a real opportunity for you to grow. You know, all those difficulties will fuel your spiritual growth.
So my pain is my client's balm.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I love it. I love it. Beautiful. Well, shall we start to wrap up there? So for everybody watching, remember to like the video, please, and comment your new moon manifestation. We're gonna have 1 million comments from one person who's just like cupcake, tarot, LUGAL. I want money. Damn souls. Yeah, that's right. Oh my god. But yeah, comment your new moon manifestation because we're under this Mars Scorpio new moon. I'm gonna make some videos about it on Instagram. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, go and check out Collin's channel. I'll put all his links down in the description. and I will see you guys all in the next one. Thanks for coming on, my friend.